Okay, so if you, or maybe someone you know, has just been through one of those huge, high-stakes academic tests,
Mm-hmm.
you know the feeling, right?
Oh, yeah. That moment where it's finally over, the pressure lifts, and then bam!
Total relief, immediately followed by this terrifying feeling that the instructions just stop.
Completely vanished. It's like jumping off a speeding train and landing somewhere with no tracks in sight. That end to the structured life, it's pretty universal.
But we don't often get to see what happens, years down the line.
Right, which is why we wanted to do this deep dive.
Exactly. We looked at this collection of 72 really in-depth interviews. They tracked people's journeys, personal and professional, years after those big college entrance exams.
And our goal here is, well, it's pretty simple. Find the patterns, the surprising twists, maybe the tough lessons from these really diverse paths.
We want to give you, the listener, a kind of telescope view into how this all works, how people actually transition from that school track to, well, figuring things out.
Yeah, a shortcut to understanding the adult professional world, maybe. And the author who did these interviews, they had this brilliant metaphor.
Oh, the train one.
Yeah, moving from that super regulated collective life, the train on its fixed track, to a world where, and I'm quoting here, there are no longer visible roads.
That's such a good way to put it.
It is. And the way people travel changes completely. Some, they're in private jets, others cars, some maybe a wheelbarrow.
Or even barefoot, right.
Or even barefoot. It becomes this immediate, very individual journey. Self-exploration kicks in.
Okay, but we need a quick reality check on the source data here. It's important context.
Absolutely crucial. These interviews were primarily with people who took the Chinese college entrance exam, the Gaokao, mostly between 2003 and 2018.
And critically, they all went to top-tier universities. These key schools known as the Chiis, Zondi and Benki.
Right. Think like the most selective Tier 1 institutions, the ones with serious prestige.
So we're looking at a group that was baseline academically elite.
Definitely. And they tend to cluster in specific industries, mostly tech and finance.
And located in big cities?
Yeah, major hubs. Think Shanghai, Beijing, but also New York, Silicon Valley. So if anyone seemed set up for that straight-shot career,
It was this group.
it was this group. And yet their paths are anything but straight. Wildly circuitous, actually.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Hmm.
Starting right after the exam, where the tracks supposedly end.
Right. For some, the very top achievers, it did look pretty straightforward at first.
The ones who went straight into the domestic top 2 universities, got the degrees, landed the high-pressure jobs immediately.
Exactly. We see, for instance, the high school campus celebrity type. Top 2 universities straight into investment banking. Their takeaway. Just be tougher, brutal.
Wow.
And then there's the small-town scholar example started in architecture at Tsinghua, now doing amazing work at the Metropolitan Museum. So that elite path, it exists. It's real.
And demanding, clearly. But here's where it gets interesting. Looking at the numbers, that straight shot, it's definitely not the typical experience, even for this elite group.
Yeah.
A huge number of these people started with an immediate detour. They didn't get their first choice major, or they got assigned something else through, like, professional adjustment programs.
So the perfect plan kind of shattered right away for many.
Pretty much. The path diverged instantly.
And you can see them scrambling, trying to get back on a path they wanted.
Right. Like, the student who loved games aimed for computer science,
Okay.
but hit a small snag, and boom, career path veers off into real estate marketing.
That,
Totally unexpected.
wow, started with one goal, but the reality pulled him somewhere else entirely.
Or, this other story, really revealing. Someone prioritized the school's name, the prestige.
Over the actual subject.
Exactly. They took a major adjustment just to get into that top university. Then realized, oops, this major isn't for me.
Uh-oh.
And later, they actually turned down a Yale acceptance. I mean, think about that. To go to a different school strong in computer science.
So they eventually corrected course, but it took a huge, costly detour.
It shows that drive to find the right fit persisted, even when the start was messy.
This whole initial phase, the chaos, it really connects to something one of the successful investment managers said.
What was that?
They felt the whole journey was shaped less by conscious choice,
And more by.
more by just sheer randomness, like who you happen to talk to, a tiny error on the exam. Those things could set your path for years.
That's kind of terrifying, the illusion of control.
It really forces you to realize that, yeah, control is often just an illusion, especially early on. These detours become the main road.
Okay, let's shift gears. Let's talk about the really big changes, the radical pivots, where the map just gets redrawn entirely.
Yeah, and we're not talking small job title tweaks here.
No, we mean massive shifts, like total professional re-identification. The source lists over 20 separate stories just under switched majors.
That's a lot. It suggests that for these super smart people, undergrad was maybe just like round one.
The testing ground.
Exactly. A testing ground, not the final word on their career. And we see some incredible migrations showing how skills can transfer in unexpected ways.
Okay, give us some examples. What kind of wild combinations did you see?
Well, how about someone moving from chemistry, then to math, then to economics,
Okay.
and they end up as a high-level investment manager?
Wow. Or
Someone starting in architecture, jumping to accounting, then shifting to marketing, and now they work in corporate strategy at a top consulting firm.
hold on, let's pause there. Why? Why would someone go from chemistry or architecture into finance or consulting? Is it just the money?
That's a really important question. And yeah, the money, the private jet incentive, it's definitely a factor.
Yeah.
But it's also about the skills. Chemistry, architecture, these are super rigorous analytical fields. Problem solving, mathematical modeling.
Right. Hard skills.
Exactly. And those core intellectual muscles, they're highly valued by, say, quant analysts, the people building complex financial models, and investment firms generally.
So the industry actively recruits that kind of brain power, regardless of the original major.
Precisely. It pulls talent by rewarding that analytical rigor.
Okay, so it reframes the pivot. It's not necessarily failure in the first field, but successful skill transfer.
Exactly right. And you also see this incredible power of self-discovery. There was one person initially labeled as the Ursha, Lankasheng.
Which is like the stereotype for a liberal arts student,
Right.
often seen as separate from the hard sciences.
Correct. But this person described having a major awakening in college. They shifted from Japanese language to economics and finally landed in computer science.
So they completely rewrote their own academic identity against the initial label.
Fundamentally challenged and changed it. It's pretty inspiring.
And these pivots weren't always smooth. Some people really hit the pause button hard.
Oh, yeah. Some profound interruptions. It shows the psychological cost of grinding down a path that just doesn't fit you.
Like who?
Well, there was the high school athlete scholar, chose computer science, and she admitted it was because she heard Google work was said to be cushy.
Uh-oh. External motivation.
Big time. And the reality of the academic grind hit hard. She ended up quitting her PhD program later on.
Wow. The mismatch becomes unavoidable.
The system forces you to confront it eventually. Or think about the passionate science student who was doing financial engineering, that mix of advanced math and finance, basically a ticket to a high-paying job.
Right, a golden path.
But they abandoned it, went to a U.S. liberal arts college instead to study art history.
Art history, why?
Because, they said, they needed to learn to appreciate human life. That's a conscious shift away from purely technical or financial success, a huge value change.
That takes guts. And it wasn't always easy even for the super qualified, right?
Not at all. We saw a product manager, a PM, that key role in tech, who had double majors in math and philosophy, incredible background.
Sounds powerful.
You'd think so. But they went through a suspension, a transfer, and after applying to hundreds of jobs, initially got 0 offers.
0. Wow. Even with that background, rejection is part of the process, clearly.
Absolutely. The road is bumpy, even for the best.
What's also interesting is how some of these detours led to unique paths, sometimes global ones.
Definitely. We saw diverse international routes, like the student from a rural school who ended up getting a U.S. PhD in optics.
Okay, high achievement.
And then chose to become a stay-at-home parent, which shows, success isn't always about climbing the career ladder or the paycheck.
That's a really important point. Redefining success.
Or the person who actually rejected the Gaokao system entirely, later got into Harvard Kennedy School, hugely prestigious, but gave it up.
Gave up Harvard. For what?
To follow their environmental ideals, working directly in the tech sector on solutions, again, constantly reevaluating what success means to them.
Okay, so after all this, the pivoting, the false starts, the identity shifts, where do they actually end up? What's the career snapshot look like now?
Well, the destinations show that concentration we talked about.
Yep.
It links back to that private jet idea.
Yeah.
Huge numbers landed in tech.
Doing what specifically?
Software engineers, lots of product managers, PMs, basically running a product or feature, many in big tech, often in Silicon Valley.
Okay, tech. And the other big one?
Finance, investment banking, quant analysis, fund controllers. mostly concentrated in places like Shanghai and New York.
So wait, if this incredibly diverse, smart group, after all the twists and turns, mostly funnels into tech and finance, doesn't that kind of prove the original academic structure worked? I mean, they all got to these elite outcomes, just maybe took a longer, weirder route.
That's a really sharp point. And you could argue that, yes, it suggests that while the individual academic path might feel random,
Right.
the global market is highly structured. It knows how to find and pull adaptable analytical talent towards the high-growth, high-reward sectors.
So the system rewards versatility maybe more than just initial specialization.
I think that's a great way to put it. Adaptability seems key.
But crucially, it wasn't everyone in tech and finance. Right.
Oh, absolutely not. We definitely saw people who stayed deeply connected to their original training. Doctors, lawyers, civil engineers, artists.
So those foundational professional paths are still very much alive and well.
They are. It shows there's a balance. Certain fields aggressively pull talent from everywhere, but traditional paths still thrive for those who find their fit there.
I loved some of the really unexpected pivots that kind of defied that tech finance pull.
Me too. Like the former physicist who is also a campus singer.
Yeah. What happened with him?
He explicitly left physics to start his own venture and described the experience as painful yet happy.
Painful yet happy. That sounds about right for entrepreneurship.
Doesn't it? It shows following that genuine interest often comes with struggle, but also huge personal reward.
And ultimately, that seems to be the dominant theme in the end, finding that inner balance. Which brings us to maybe the most surprising destination, happiness.
Yes, or at least a kind of self-consistent calm. Think about the highly successful internet product manager.
Okay. Conquered the big city, achieved that external marker of success, and then chose to leave it all.
To go where?
To return to her provincial capital, the choice known in the source as Hui Lao Jie Shengui.
Right, and for context, that means deliberately leaving, say, the intense pressure cooker of Shanghai or Beijing.
And going back to a maybe more manageable, family-oriented city, a conscious choice to deprioritize that external rat race.
It's a different definition of success.
Yeah.
So when you pull it all together, 72 very bright people navigating this incredibly complex terrain, what's the big psychological takeaway?
I think the final reflection in the source material is really the most powerful message for you, the listener.
What is it?
That regardless of how they did on that first exam or how many times they switched jobs or majors, these individuals eventually found, and this is a quote, a relatively self-consistent and calm inner state.
Self-consistent and calm. Yeah. And that seemed to come from finally embracing the winding journey, the messiness, and aligning their external life, the job, the place, with their internal interests and values.
So that's really the core message from this deep dive, isn't it?
I think so. The adult path. It's way less about straight lines than we're led to believe.
It's about navigating the turns, the changes, the randomness that life throws at you.
Exactly. And the sheer variety of outcomes, from top 2 bankers to stay-at-home parents to people who changed careers multiple times, it proves that success gets defined by the individual long after the test scores don't matter anymore.
The source material leaves us with a really encouraging thought, urging you to trust your own compass as you navigate all this. It says, believe in the courage of your heart. Believe in the power of time.
That's powerful. And maybe as you move from the structured map of school to the wild territory of adult life, there's one last provocative thought. It was cited in the interviews from the Count of Monte Cristo. When the path looks impossible or confusing or just too damn long, remember this. All human wisdom is contained in these 2 words. Wait and hope.
Wait and hope.
Yeah, it's about the long game, because these complex, successful adult lives, they take decades to truly unfold, something to keep in mind.